We're going to start seated with our TheraBand and just have about shoulder distance apart with an overhand, loose, comfortable grip. And then find a nice sitting position where you don't feel a lot of restriction in your hips, but you feel like you can sit comfortably on your sits bones. Bring your arms out in front. Find that nice, tall, lifted, straight, upright back. And we're just going to start with a couple of arm reaches up with the breath, just to kind of start with warming up. So inhaling to reach up. And think about lifting your chest towards the ceiling and getting a little bit of an upper back arch. And then exhale and draw your abdominals in and kind of like hug them back. So you're rounding in your low belly. And then inhale, reach up and lift the chest upward. And then exhale from the abdominals. Feel the abdominals pull in, and then that's what brings your arms down. So it's coming from the core. Inhale, reach up, look up, lift the chest a little bit more, and then exhale, and from the abdominals, deep curl, but you're still really lifting through the spine. And two more. Inhale, reach up, lift the chest, arc the upper back, so let the ribs open in the front a little bit, and then exhale and draw in to hug the abdominals. And one more time. Inhale, reach up, look up, and then exhale, draw into that C curve. Now hold that C curve shape there. Make sure that it's not rounding in the upper back so much, but more in the low back. And then just take that shape back with you a few inches. Let your heels glide in if you need to. And then exhale, curl up and lift up. And then find that C shape and take it back. And then inhale, pause here at the bottom. Exhale, coming up, lift up, reach up. And exhale, find the C shape and take it back. Coming back, opening up through the hip flexors, and then curling up through the spine, lifting through the chest. And one more time. This time we're going to hold it back. You're going to stay in a position where you feel a lot of support from the abdominals. And then I want you to keep your a little bit of outward tension on the band, just a little bit. And then exhale and rotate to one side, really feeling the obliques pull across on that side. And then come back through center. And then exhale, rotating to the other side. And coming back through center. And not just rotating the arms, but really rotate from the trunk. So your arms are actually not really moving much. It's your waistline and your rib cage that's rotating. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. One more time to each side. Hold on this side here. So you should be facing me right now. Just hold there. And I want you to just take the lower arm and pull it down towards the floor. And pull it down to the floor. Two more. And feel that connection with that oblique on that side. And pull. Good. Come back through center. Now rotate to the other side and pull that lower arm towards the floor. Use your breath. And come back to center. Roll up, reach up, look up, and then bring the arms down and roll all the way down to the floor. Reposition yourself if you're needing to. We're going to reach the arms back overhead. Stretch the fingertips away from the shoulders. So let your shoulders shrug up towards your ears. And then draw your shoulders down. Feel your scapula get nice and wide and heavy on the floor. If you can't have your hands behind you all the way, that's fine. They can be up in the air. But wherever they are, you're going to just keep them there as you inhale to prepare. And then exhale, curling back through the pelvis, coming up into your first pelvic curl. Leaving your arms reaching back, stretching through the hip flexors. Inhale here, And then exhale and lengthen the spine and feel the spine lengthening away from the fingertips. And then inhale, let's bring the arms down to the sides, or to the hips here. Then you're going to exhale, curl up, pressing your hips up into the band. And at the top of that, feel the hips kind of push into that band and feel the band pull down across the top of the hips. Then inhale, reach back with the arms, and then exhale and send the spine long away from the arms. Inhale, reach the band down across the tops of the thighs. And then exhale, curl up, pressing the hips into the band and pressing the band back against the hips. Hold at the top. Inhale, reach the arms back, and then exhale and articulate away from the arms. 2 more times like that. Inhale, bring the arms down. Exhale, peeling up, pressing into the band. Give that band some resistance so you feel those hip flexors pushing up into the band. And then reach the arms back, inhale, and then exhale and articulate down. Let's go one more. And inhale, bring the arms down. Exhale, peeling up. Holding here at the top. Inhale, reach the arms back. Hold that lift. And then exhale and let that spine just melt down to the floor. Now bring the arms up towards the ceiling. We're going to leave the arms here as we fold one leg up into tabletop position. Bring the thighs together, the knees together, the ankles together. Trying as much as possible to keep the shoulders and the arms exactly where they are. You're going to be really limited in how far you can go over as you inhale over to the side and then exhale, come back to center. So this is going to be a lot more about control than it is about a big motion and coming back through center. So we're trying to really maintain the same position in space with the arms. The arms are going to want to move in the opposite direction. Try and minimize that for the time being and just play with how far can you go over and not move your arms, and feel the connection there from those obliques to really control that movement on that very minuscule level. And then come back to center. Now you're going to allow your arms to rotate in the opposite direction and turn your head with it. You're still going to have to use a lot of control. Otherwise, you're going to fall over and you won't be able to do this very gracefully. You'll kind of flop. And then exhale back to center. And inhaling, counter rotating. And again, don't think about just moving the arms or the band. Think more about rotating the whole rib cage in the opposite direction of the knees. So you feel that counter rotation and that balance. One more time. And back to center. And let's go one last one to this side. Rotating and back to center. Go ahead and place one foot down onto the floor and then the other. Take the band and open it up so that it's kind of flat, and place it right at the base of your head. And then lay your head back down and reposition your hands so that they're closer to your ears. So you're gonna kind of choke up on the band a little bit more. Elbows are out to the sides, and you have a good connection there with your hands on the band. I want you to use the sensation of the band pulling or pressing into your head to think about lengthening the back of the neck so that the chin nods slightly inward towards your chest. And then you're going to leave your head nice and heavy in your band. As you exhale, thinking of folding your head off of the floor and then sliding your ribs towards your pelvis. Let your head be nice and heavy and cradled in that band. And that support for the neck to get you to lift a little bit deeper into the abdominals. Hold here, lift a little higher, and then lower back down. Take a big deep breath in, nice long neck. Exhale, coming up through that chest lift and lifting a little higher at the top and then lowering back down. Inhale at the bottom and exhale, floating up. Leave the head really heavy in the hands and let the abdominals do the work. Let your head be supported by them. And 2 more. Exhale, coming up through that chest lift, sliding that rib, the lower ribs towards the pelvis, and then back down. And 1 more time, big deep breath in, and exhale, coming up. Now stay here, hold. Fold your right leg in the tabletop. Fold your left leg in the tabletop. See if you can lift another millimeter up, maybe another inch up. And then you're gonna lower your right toes towards the floor and switch. And exhale, and exhale. See if you can lift a little higher with the rib cage, maintaining a nice stable pelvis. And 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Now hold the knees up. Take the band away from the head. Place it across the tops of the thighs. You're still holding it with a nice close position to the thighs. And then stay lifted and push into the band. And then press your knees against it to deepen that connection of the lower abs. And so we're getting into that iliopsoas. So pushing the knees into the band. Good. And 2 more. Beautiful. Last one. And hold, hold, hold. And lower the head and chest. Hug the knees in for a moment. We're going to give the abdominals a little break. Take the band and place it across the bottoms of your feet. You're gonna hold the band between your legs and take your legs into a frog position or a diamond. Drop your heels so that they're at a 45-degree position here. And just hold the band in whatever position feels comfortable for your wrists and your shoulders. So don't compromise your wrists and shoulders for the sake of this exercise. From here, I want you to just go into a parallel and then turn into that little frog. So go parallel and then turn into that little frog. And try not to think about this coming from your feet, but think about it coming from the deep external rotators of your hip. So really tiny little muscles there at the base of your pelvis, rotating that femur bone externally. Let's go 1 more. And then hold the last one. And then you're gonna press straight out and then back in. Your heels are gliding along an imaginary straight line. So you can be going more upward if you like, or you can be going more outward, whatever feels appropriate for you. But whatever you're choosing, stay on that same plane. So if I'm gonna go outward, I'm gonna stay on that same horizontal plane the whole time, rather than starting here and then going there and then going down here and not having any real line that I'm trying to maintain and extend. So draw an imaginary line with your heels in space. The lower your heels are, the more abdominals and the more hamstring activity you're going to get. The higher, the more hamstring stretch you're going to get. Let's go 1 more. And then hold the last one, hold there, and then go back to that little parallel and turn out again. So your legs are straight now, and you're going parallel and turn out. You might have to play with your band and how you're holding it. And 2 more. So little external rotations. And last one. Now go to parallel and hold the legs out in a position that you can maintain. and then you're gonna open the legs and close. So now we're working those outer thighs. Think of squeezing your sits bones towards one another as your legs open. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but access those muscles at the base of your pelvis. 2 more. Your glutes and hamstrings meet. And last one, and now hold that position out apart, and then you're gonna bend and straighten, keeping the band pulled apart. Bend and straighten. You're gonna keep your feet flexed so you don't lose your band and it doesn't smack you in the face like one of those horrible videos that's going around on the internet right now. I feel like I keep seeing those because people are working out at home a lot. And keep your feet flexed. And you should be feeling the muscles of your ankles too. Your calves, yeah? I saw some head nods, good. 1 more. And now hold the bent knee position. Come in halfway, hold that bent knee position, and press the band out again 5 times. Press it out, keeping the knees bent. 3 and 4, and 1 more, and 5. And then go ahead and take the band off of the feet, except for 1 foot. Leave 1 foot in the band. So now you're going to stretch the other leg out long on the floor if you can. You can also leave it bent if you want, if that feels more comfortable. But if you have the ability to straighten it out, go ahead and do so. So now we're going to just do a single leg. You're going to just press out and bend in a few times, paying attention to the alignment of the knee as you do it. So we want to keep that knee feeling like it's tracking with our hip socket and our second toe. So we're having a nice parallel alignment pattern. Last one, and then you're gonna hold that leg straight. Use your hands to pull the leg back until you feel a little hamstring stretch. And then you're gonna draw the leg down towards the floor very dynamically, and then back up again. So you're gonna use the band to kind of assist you into a little bit bigger range of motion than you might get otherwise. 2 more, but it's still really your leg that's doing the work and not just you pulling and yanking on the band. And hold the last one up there. Now flex and point. And if you have to reposition things anytime, go ahead and do that. The more you pull down on the band, the bigger the resistance, so the more you'll feel. Especially if you've got a lighter band, you might need to create more resistance. Now hold the last one and get a good grip on that band. So we're going to do our leg circles here. So you're going to go across the midline of the body and then let yourself just glide that leg around in a nice, big, free, easy circle. Love doing this leg circles with the band because it really helps me feel like I can get that range of motion in the hip, get that, all that synovial fluid articulating into that socket. And now reverse, and going around, and exhale. And 2 more. And every time you come back up, try and get that little extra stretch for that hamstring. And last one, and pull back, stretch, and then let's change legs. So extending the opposite leg out, nice and long, and bending that knee and pressing out 5 times. Just bend and straighten, and bend and straighten. 2 more. Where my hands get a workout even from gripping. And hold the last one. And now draw that leg back towards you. And again, really, you're pulling on the band a little bit, but the quadricep and the hip flexor are primarily doing the work. And then let the leg come down and pull back. Let the leg come down, Use the leg and give it a little assistance at the top. Use the leg and then just a little help. 2 more. And hold back. And 1 more. And hold back. Good. Now hold here and articulate through a point and flex. And point and flex. And 3, 2 more, 4, and last one. And then leave that leg flexed. Get a nice position with your hold here and bring the leg across the midline of the body and circle around. Keeping that pelvis nice and quiet, making this circle happen purely in the hip socket and not anywhere else. So the spine is stable, the pelvis is stable. And now reverse and circle around. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. And 1 more with each breath. And last one. And then a gentle pull at the top. Get that hamstring. 1 more little stretch. And then release that. Okay. So go ahead and take your hands off that band for just a moment. Give your hands a little rest. And then hold on to it again. Fold your knees into tabletop. Take an inhale here. And then as you exhale, lift up. Place the band over tops of the shins. Keeping the legs in tabletop. How far you choke up on the band is going to dictate how much resistance you have. So we're going to try to tap into that for our hundreds. So find a position that you can hold and exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. A little slower, a little bit more of a kind of a tricep lat exercise. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release it down. Hug those knees in. And then extend the legs out long. Bring the arms back overhead. Stretch everything out. Take your right arm and your right leg and reach them further away from each other, stretching that whole right side of the body. And then switching to the left, feel the whole left side get longer. And then coming back to center, take that arch out of the spine, let the spine get nice and heavy in the floor beneath you, so your abdominals are going to tap in. And then inhale, bring the arms up, look forward, and exhale, and roll up 1 vertebra at a time. And find that lifted C curve. We're going to challenge you a little bit. I know all of you guys are really strong, so you have an opportunity here if you want. You can bring your arms up, and you can leave them facing the ceiling as you roll down. So instead of the arms being in front of you, your arms are going to be overhead. Any amount that feels doable. Same thing on the way up. So inhaling and thinking of leaving the band over your head as you roll up, trying to leave the band up rather than forward. And inhale, and then exhale. Same thing on the way down. Go to whatever feels doable for your body. And inhale, and exhale. And a nice modification, if roll-ups are a nemesis of yours, is to place the band under your feet and use the band as an assistance rather than something to give you more effort, but actually give you more assistance. You guys keep going. Inhale here, exhale, rolling up. So if you need that little bit of help, that's a good way to get it. Let's do one more. Inhale and exhale, rolling down. And then we're gonna stay down. Bring your legs in towards you. Fold your knees up in the tabletop. Take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, lift up through the head and chest. Place the band across the tops of the thighs again. This time we're gonna take the right leg out, left leg in, and I want you to pull, pull, and then switch. Pull, pull, switch. You're creating this imaginary wall with the band, and you're using that deep hip flexor psoas, lower abdominal to push into that wall. 2 more. Last one. And lower down. Go ahead and turn your head from side to side. Let that go. And we're gonna take the band overhead and challenge our rollovers now. So let's go ahead and I'm trying to decide how I want to get you guys into this. Let's do some pelvic curls first so that I have you guys doing that. So take your arms, keep them overhead. So here's your option. You can go ahead and just do some pelvic curls and rolling back down. You can also go ahead and use the band just like we did with the single leg and feel those lower abs resisting into the band to push in. Otherwise, you're going to do your rollovers, but we're going to try to do them with the band overhead, which is a lot more challenging. So if this is not, if you have a rollover, but the band overhead is just too much, then just do your regular rollover. Take your hands down by your sides, okay? So if you're finding that you really need your arms, go ahead and use them. Otherwise, your legs are in tabletop. You're gonna extend your legs out to a 45-degree angle. Inhale to 90, and then exhale, rolling over without the use of your arms. Inhale, flex, open, and bring your toes to your hands behind you. Then as you exhale, I want you to try and leave your feet in your hands. So you're gonna give yourself this little extra stretch on the way back down by guiding your feet down into that stretch. And then point, bring your hands back overhead again. And inhale to 90, exhale to roll over. Let me see how successful we're getting with this. Yes, you guys are amazing. I knew you could do it. And then place your feet in your hands and roll back down and enjoy that stretch. Good. And let's do 2 more. And inhale and exhale, roll over. Good. I have one little comment that I'm going to make to kind of make your next one hopefully that much better. A couple of you are getting over with just a little bit of a leverage, and I want you to access a little bit more abdominals. So when I go to this 90 degree, I want to try to keep that position of the hip joint. So rather than bringing my legs towards my body and rolling over like that, I want to keep this 90 degrees and roll over using the abdominals. It's so much harder. So when you get to here, your legs should still be parallel to the floor. Then you're going to open and bring them down. Try one like that. See if you can do it. Even if you're not successful getting over, you're going to tap into the muscles I want you to use to get over, rather than just the flexibility of your spine and hamstrings. Does that make sense? So stop there, Carrie. Now keep that 90 degrees in your hip joint. Oh, yeah, see? Good. Nice, sorry. Then open and lower down. Good. Especially you guys are all pretty darn flexible in your hamstrings, so you're kind of, I don't want to say cheating, but you're using that to your advantage. And so you're using the flexibility and less the strength. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So, enough lecturing. So now you're going to go ahead and take your band back into your hands. Take your legs, straighten them up towards the ceiling. Your toes are your goal. So you're going to think about trying to touch your toes. As you exhale to lift up into that chest lift, bringing your left leg down to the floor, I want you to think about reaching up to touch your toes and then switching. And reach and reach and switch. And switch. And switch. Reach, reach, switch. Good. Switch. Nice. Keep your chin softly in towards your chest so that you're not looking straight up at the ceiling, but you're looking at your toes. Good. 2 more. And reach, reach. Last one. And then go ahead and bring the legs in. Lower the body down. Take your band off to the side for just a second. And let's do some hip stirs. Just stir those femur bones around inside the hip socket. One direction, and then the other direction. And hugging your hands over the tops of your shins, lifting your head up, rock your hips back and roll back. Good. So, sitting up nice and tall, flexed feet, holding onto the band. We're going to bring the band behind us and turn, face you guys. Turn so that your, let's bring our feet together. So turn so that your palms are facing upward and your arms are straight out to the sides like airplane wings. So you're sitting up against an imaginary wall, and we don't want to rotate it all from our arms. We're going to know that we did that because the band is going to do weird things. We're going to keep the band straight out to the side and use it as a nice indicator of whether or not we're truly rotating just from the trunk. And exhale, exhale, back to center. Exhale, exhale, back to center. Keeping the feet nice and together and not shifting or staggering. Two more. Last one. Come back to center. And then now take the arms up to the ceiling. Open the legs out a little bit. Yeah, so let's bring the arms down. Let's start with the rolling down first. So take an inhale here. Exhale, curling down off of an imaginary wall. And then I want you to hit that diagonal with the back. So now you're gonna try and hold this nice diagonal position here. So if you're very flexible in your hamstrings, it'll be lower, but if you're less flexible, it'll be higher. But wherever it is, that's where it is. And then we're gonna just reach the arms up and back and stretch and forward. And up and back and down. Keep your wrists really straight. So make sure that you're not doing this from the wrists. Keep the wrists in a nice straight line. Two more. And then on the last one, you're gonna hold there, sit up with it, sit up nice and tall, and pull the band down behind your back as if you're drawing your elbows together and lift your chest. So we're gonna squeeze the shoulder blades together and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good. If this is too hard on your shoulders, just take your arms further apart and make it smaller. Too easy, go closer together. Now, as I pull my elbows behind my back, I want to think about bringing my points of my elbows forward. So I don't want my elbows to do this because that's going to internally rotate my shoulder joint. I want my shoulder joint externally rotated. So think about bringing your the points of your elbows towards me and bringing your hands back behind you as you lift your chest and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Do you guys feel that a little differently? Yeah? And let's go one more. Good, and then bring that down. Now we're gonna come to kneeling. And you're gonna kneel on your band. If you have a very heavy band, then you might want to bring your knees closer together. If you have a very light band, you can bring your knees further apart. That should make a difference. I think it might make a difference. I'm not 100% sure. I'll give you guys some modifications because I've got a pretty heavy band right here. So we're gonna start with just one hand. And you're gonna hold that hand next to your shoulder and you should feel a little bit of resistance right away. From there, I just want you to reach up like you're gonna punch the ceiling and then come back. And again, you're thinking that the point of the elbow is coming towards the camera rather than away from the camera, which is gonna put my shoulder in an internal rotation. So think of swirling that elbow point towards the camera. And if it's too heavy, then give yourself more slack. Too light, give yourself less slack. So make little adjustments accordingly. We're reaching straight up. Nice straight wrist. And last one. And then go to the other side. Same thing on the other side. When you hold the band, just come from behind it and grab it. And straight up and down. Straight up and down. Abdominals in, reaching up. And last one, and back down. Good. Now, bring yourself to the center of it. Check to see that you've got an equal amount of band on both sides, and then cross it in front of you. Hopefully your bands are not quite as heavy as mine, because this one's gonna be a little rough on this heavy black band. So now we're gonna go externally rotate and back. Working that rotator cuff and back. Little external rotation and back. This isn't too bad. It's when we add the next element that it'll get a little intense. So if it already feels a little bit tight, then raise your hand, put your hand up, and I'll help you. Okay, so last one. Now you're gonna hold here. Keep the palms facing up. And then you're gonna reach the arms out and lift the chest up. And then come back. And then come back and across. So we go external rotation, and then full extension, and lift the chest. And then come back with the elbows and release. So we rotate first, then extend, and still keep that feeling that your shoulders are externally rotating. So you're thinking of pointing your thumbs back. So externally rotate. Now point your thumbs back and don't extend forward, extend more out to the sides. So we're not gonna reach forward towards the camera, yes. And then as you extend out to the sides, lift your chest into extension. Does that make sense? Is that too complex to get over Zoom? Okay, one more time. Let me see. Reach, yes, 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 yes. Do you feel, you should feel, you guys, like a lot of effort right through your upper back extensors. Can you feel that? Yes? You feel the front of your shoulder? Okay, should be stretching there. I mean, it's definitely working a little bit, but okay. All right, so now we're gonna come back onto the band again and play with the position here. We're gonna take this arm overhead, and it's a little awkward. You're gonna bend towards the band, place your hand on your hip, keep your elbow above your head, and you're just gonna extend from there. So we're getting this oblique stretch and this lat stretch at the same time that we're extending through the tricep. Good. Really important that you keep your elbow still and that you not be moving from your shoulder joint, but you're only moving at the elbow joint. Couple more. Good. And last one. Nice. I tell you, I want to reach through the camera and like put my hands on you guys, but I wouldn't even be able to do that right now, even if you were here, so. So frustrating. Okay. So now we're gonna go to the other side. So side bending over, taking that elbow up. I wanna keep my elbow in the same exact position the whole time. So it's really just extending from the elbow and bending from the elbow. Two more. And last one. And come down. All right, so the next one, we're gonna bring the band out in front of us. Just kind of sit back on your heels in a position that feels comfortable to you. If you have to sit on the floor, if you can't kneel like this, then sit however feels comfortable. Take an overhand grip, and whatever distance apart, I would err on the side of going wider at first, and then you can always go narrower for more of a stretch. We're gonna bring the arms up, and as we do, I want you to allow your shoulders to go up. I know it's like so anti-Pilates to do that, but we want the shoulder blades to glide on the rib cage, and then bring the arms back. So we go back, let the shoulder blades come up, and then come down. So we're going for a nice, easy glide. Good. Allow the shoulder blades to move on the rib cage. It's important that the shoulder blades move as well as the shoulder joint, the shoulder socket. Now, if you can go a little narrower for more of a stretch, do so. If that felt like enough for you, then just stick with that. Good, let's do 3 more. Really exhale as your arms are going back. And then inhale. And 2 more. And last one. Good, so you guys can all do that. That looks great. What's gonna happen now is you're gonna turn onto your bellies, and you're gonna do that again, but this time your chest is gonna stay in contact with the floor. So let me really quickly show you guys what that looks like. We're gonna do it with the palms facing down, and we're also gonna do a set with the palms facing up, which feels a little different. So now here, I keep the chest down and even the head down as I do these overhead, yeah? And then I'm gonna finish on the last one, and I'm gonna turn my grip so my palms are facing down, and I'm gonna do it again. And that feels really strange if you're not used to it. So I wanted to show you before you try to do it where you couldn't see me. So go ahead and lay down, face down. Bring the band overhead, palms facing down. You okay, Eden? Are you just frozen? There you are. Okay. So you're facing down and your arms are overhead. Good. And then from there, you're gonna just take your arms overhead. Keep your forehead down and keep your rib cage down on the floor. So you won't be able to borrow any of your flexibility from your upper spine and your ribs. It's all gonna come just purely from your shoulders. Good. And again, try and keep your wrists really straight, you guys, because that's another place where we'll compensate from, and we'll do the motion from our wrists instead of from where they're supposed to come from. We're kind of borrow it from our wrists. Good. Nice. Now take the band and place it on your hips, on your backside, and flip your palms so that your palms are facing the other way. And then you're gonna do 5 more overhead like that. Carrie. There you go, you got it, good. I love the expression on your face, like, wait, what? So keep doing the same thing, good. And try not to pull apart on the band too much. Try and keep your arms moving and maintain that same distance apart the whole time. So sometimes a heavier band is actually a little more helpful to use on this. Good. Now on the last one, I want you to hold your arms back behind you with that reverse grip. So my arms are behind me and my palms are facing downward. Yeah, my palms are facing down. And then you're gonna take an inhale here, float the head and chest up, reach the arms back, and use that feeling of the band lifting your chest up, and then lower back down. Inhale, and lifting up, send that band towards your heels as you lift and lower. And you can hold a lot narrower if you want, so you feel a little bit more of a stretch through the front of the shoulders. And lower, keep your wrists really straight. 2 more, abdominals in. And last one. And now if this feels okay, take the band and place it around your ankles. And then loop the band so you've got a loop over the top of your hand. You're gonna inhale, lift the chest up, lift the legs, and press into the band with your ankles to lift your chest a little bit more. You won't get straight legs because otherwise you'll lose the band. You don't want to do that. You're just using the band to help you find your glutes and hamstrings and find a little bit more stretch through the front of the chest than you might otherwise, and the shoulders. And inhale, my palms are still facing, actually my palms are facing outward. Let's go 1 more. And lift and hold, pushing into the band, lifting the chest, and lowering back down. Go ahead and let that go. Bring your arms in front of you, shake your hips back and forth. You're gonna push off of the floor, sit back towards your heels, and stretch into that child's pose. Coming onto all fours and taking that nice cat-cow a couple times. Inhaling and lifting through the chest. And exhaling, curl. And inhale. And exhale. This time, tuck your toes under, press your heels down. Press through your chest. Keeping that nice down dog position. We're gonna open the palms nice and flat. And then I want you to think about just bringing the elbows towards the floor and push away. So we're just bringing the elbows down and pressing up. And elbows and up. 2 more. Last one. And then shift that weight back again. Lift up through the toes. Walk your feet towards your hands. Let your head relax. Let your shoulders relax. Let your neck relax. And then take a couple of breaths here. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the mouth. And then slowly articulate up to standing. Rolling the shoulders back a couple times. Good job, you guys.